He in one place, I'm in another.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'm looking for mega fights right now. And right now, that's not a mega fight. So, you know what I mean? That's my standpoint on it. I'm looking to fight guys like Canelo. You know, that's pretty much it, man. And the rematch with Spence. And that's it. That's all.
Ennis and The Year have both asked Terence Crawford to fight, and Crawford has replied. Eddie Hearn has said that Crawford vs. Sis is the best fight that can be made in boxing right now. It was clear to Hearn that the fight between Crawford and Boots was the best in boxing history. His goal for Boots was to win at 147 pounds before moving up to 150 pounds. He said that he had to move up to a heavier weight class.
Against Boots, he's the best fight in boxing. I mean, unquestionable. But before Boots goes to 54, I would really like to see him unify at 147, and that would be a tough job for us, but one that you'll see tomorrow night we can deliver with a crowd like this.
The British promoter made a deal with Ennis this year, and their first fight will happen on Saturday night. Boots is going to defend his IBF welterweight world title against David Avanesian. Avanesian beat Boots in their last fight a year ago. Crawford became the undisputed welterweight world champion. He held belts from the WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO, and at the time, he was also the temporary IBF champion. In order to win the title, Ennis had to fight. In the end, Professor lost the title belt to an American competitor because he didn't want to fight the very skilled Dan. Because of this, Ennis was promoted and automatically became the IBF crown champion. Crawford has decided to move up in weight class. On August 3rd, he will fight Israel Madrimov, who is the current WBA super welterweight champion from Pakistan. Even though Hearn backs Madrimov, he told reporters that he thinks Madrimov has a good chance against Crawford. He also said that Crawford is clearly the favorite in this match.
I think that I really like Madrimov's chances against Crawford, but Crawford is obviously a big favourite.
The organizer then said that the fight would happen once Boots had done everything that could be done at 147 pounds. Hearn couldn't believe Boots could make 147 pounds since he weighed only 146 pounds on Friday. He also said that Buenos, Boots' father and trainer, thinks Boots could make one for OD.
I'm going to do it when he's achieved everything that he can achieve at 147. I've got to be honest, like being around him and seeing the size of him, I was quite surprised that he makes 147 like he does. Like the weigh-in this morning, he was 146, and Bozy was like, you know, I actually think he could make 140. I'm like, and he.
Hearn also said that Boots looked like he was drinking water, and that his face didn't look like it was drying out. He said that Boots thinks he can eventually move up to 168 pounds, which means that he will probably move up to 155 pounds and then 160 pounds in the future. However, he stressed how important it was to clear the division first. He also said that even though Boots had won a world championship, it would be a shame if he didn't win all 3 titles because of how good he was.
His face wasn't drawn in the slightest, and that was, you know, when I look at him, he believes he can go up to 168 eventually. So I think you're going to see someone like Jaron Ennis definitely move to 54, definitely move to 60 over time. But I don't like to make the move without clearing up the division. Like, he's won a world championship, but it'd just be a shame if he didn't unify someone of his.
A trainer has paid for a boxer from Nebraska to fight Terence Crawford and Jaron. A lot of people want them to fight. To get ready for his fight against Israel Mo on August 3rd, Crawford wants to move up to super welterweight. Meanwhile, Danny Jacobs' manager, Andre Rozier, has talked about the possibility of a fight between Crawford and Ennis after joining Eddie Hearn's matchroom. The fighter from Philadelphia will make his home city debut later this year. His final goal is to fight Crawford, but Rozier thinks the 3-weight world champion will be too strong for Ennis. Rozier said, "I got Terence Crawford at 150 for now. Boots is the only one I can see, but I'm with TC all the way. I'm with Terence Crawford all the way, more over Turkey." Alec of the Saudi Royal Court stands POs to clinch the organization of the much anticipated Terence Crawford versus Jaron Boots on Disa Spout, while boxing fans have eagerly awaited this showdown. Several issues remain to be finalized in the coming months. His Excellency, his break racing for major hurdles as Crawford prepares to square off against Israel MOTIVE this summer. The anticipated bout is set to take place in Los Angeles, California, during the first weekend of August. Terence, already a welterweight champion, will bulk up by an additional 7 pounds to compete against MOTIVE in the super welterweight division, transitioning from 147 to 150 pounds in the event of this matchup. And should Crawford uphold his flawless record, the path seems destined for a showdown with Boots, despite his historical reluctance to take on Nis yet with Crawford's next fight in August. The possibility of him delaying his return to the ring until 2025 looms large. Turkey Alec is eyeing another possible matchup, this time involving S.A. Canelo Alvarez. Canelo might soon square off against Terence Crawford. Alvarez has his sights set on 2020 for the showdown, possibly delaying a clash with Crawford this year. Nonetheless, with a limited pool of contenders, His Excellency aims to leverage the Mexican boxer's success early next year. Following the summer, more information about Crawford's next opponents will become available.
Boots is the mandatory. He's calling you out now.
Right now in my career, a lot of people like boost this, boost that, boost this. You know, fighting Boots is a lose-lose situation. I win, they're gonna say, oh, well, he was young, he wasn't ready. You got the experience over. You got so much more than this kid that never been tested.
As Jaron Ennis set to lead a hometown showdown in Philadelphia this Saturday, his promoter says he is outpaced by the boxing legend Mike Tyson in ticket sales for a Philadelphia fight. He has surpassed Tyson's record set during his 1995 fight against Buster Matthews Jr., with tickets already flying off the shelves. Projections say the Ennis vs. Avanesian clash could draw between 13,000 and 14,000 fans, possibly even more, surpassing Tyson's milestone of filling 10,000 seats in Philly. Mark's remarkable achievement at the IBF Welterweight Championship remains unfazed by this feat, directing his full attention to the upcoming bout while pleased by the record-breaking turnout. His primary focus lies squarely on securing victory in the imminent fight, prioritizing performance over the impressive ticket sales garnered by the event. The fighter from Philadelphia had originally lined up against Cody Crowley, who later withdrew, leading to David Aonian stepping in as his replacement despite the switch in opponent. Ticket sales for the match exceeded Tyson's previous record, following that ahead of his fight on the upcoming Saturday. When Ennis was asked how he felt about Eddie's statement that he outsold Mike Tyson, Ennis replied calmly with an innocuous smile, saying he didn't really feel any different. He stated that to him, it was just another day like any other, emphasizing that it felt normal to him.
And I'm blessed to be able to, be here fighting at the Wells Fargo Center. I'm glad that everybody's buying tickets, even if it's late. I'm glad you're buying tickets, supporting, and don't miss, this big show on Saturday, this big night.
The boxer, who has a perfect 3-1-0 record, said that he was thrilled and thankful to be at the Wells Fargo Center for the D event. He said that all he cared about was seeing fans and ticket buyers from his neighborhood.
Right now, I got one belt, so I'm going to like I said, collect the rest of these belts. If you undisputed at 47, do it at 54. So that's my goal. So 47 right now is my main goal. Collect these belts, be undisputed.
Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing signed Ennis Edition earlier this year because they saw how good he was and called him one of their most important signings, which shows how talented the boxer is. Despite all the attention he's getting, Ennis is focused on his goal of becoming the next undisputed welterweight champion. In the same interview, he said that he already holds one belt, and then went on to say that he wants to win another one.
I mean, go right now. I got one belt, so I'm going to like I said, collect the rest of these belts. If you undisputed at 47, do it at 54. So that's my goal. So 47 right now is my main goal. Collect these belts, be undisputed.
Fans have eagerly awaited a showdown between Terence Crawford and Ennis. But Crawford has won over all challengers at 147 pounds and now sets his sights on Canelo Alvarez at 168. Meanwhile, Ennis's promoter, Eddie Hearn, advocates for a co-fight, seeing it as a pathway for Booth to capitalize on his former undisputed welterweight champion status despite moving up in weight. The British promoter stated, "We've got to get him in the fights. We've got to get him. He is undisputed at 147 and can move up. I want to see him fight. Terence Crawford, that's a fight that's been talked about, and Terence will only take it if it's big enough to fill his boots." Ennis against somebody like Terence Crawford would be an exciting matchup, and with Joe guiding this man's future, there is potential for him to secure significant fights that could elevate his career. Jaron Ennis rivaled David Oini and boasts a record of 30 wins to 4 losses and 1 draw, with 18 victories coming by knockout, having once held the IBF interim title. Ennis ascended to full champion status after being the former undisputed one for 7 years, but Prepay decided to step up and wait to chase world titles in his 4th weight division. Ennis didn't want to receive the title in this way, but he wasn't able to stop it right now. He's just thrilled to be defending the title. "I can't wait. It's a blessing to be able to fight here, and I'm ready to put on a show and look good doing it," said Ennis, who is having his first fight back in Philly in almost 6 years. He added, "Beat him up, break him down, get the stoppage, and have my fun. I feel that I am going to grow here and put on a beautiful show. I'm fighting at home. I'm comfortable. I'm on the couch with my feet up, so it's going to be a great show." Aonian, a 35-year-old Armenian originally from Russia, wasn't the intended pick for the bout. Ennis was set to fight Cody the Crippler Crowley, but the Canadian southpaw had to withdraw due to failing a pre-fight eye exam. "The opponent's move doesn't really mean anything to me. The move my opponent made doesn't really matter to me because we have both southpaw and orthodox fighters in camp pressure. Fighters and athletes do everything. Now, Avanesian may be facing his last chance to win a world title. His previous tries were close, but didn't work. In 2017, Lamont Peterson just barely beat him to win Thuba World Boxing Association welterweight title. More recently, Crawford stopped his ambitions with a finish in the 6th round while defending, and Anna stated that "We are standing on business. There's no finish in mind for me. I just want to have fun and put on a show. The win will come to me then. The lights are going to be turned up and there will be fireworks. I'm excited for you to see a beautiful show, and I'm going to prove to the world and the 147-pound class that I'm the best." In this match, Onan will try to be Ennis. David Avanesian expressed his belief in receiving a chance. He called Ennis a good fighter and said he was happy to be matched up with other good fighters, saying that's all he wants to do. Avanesian called his previous fights, including the one against Crawford, history, and said that boxing fans would remember him. He also said that the upcoming fight was a big chance. Val now has Crawford's crown because Thailand International Boxing Federation took it away from him in November for failing to defend it against Ennis as needed. His next task is to deliver his very important boots. Because of this ruling, Ennis went from being an interim champion to having a full title recognized by the governing body. It was reported that Ennis said, "I'm excited to get in the ring and put on a beautiful show, have fun, look good, and pick apart Avanesian, break him down, and beat him up for the knockout to get the ball rolling. Saturday night will be a statement." 147 pounds has been warned. Ennis is about to make a big return. After the longest break in his 8-year career, nearly a year, Ennis is back in the ring after his last fight in July when he easily knocked out the dangerous Romanville after 10 rounds. Ennis was on the bench, trying to get his career back on track. His legal fight with No Boxing, which was run by the late Cameron Duncan until his recent death, began in February with a lawsuit seeking the release of a contract and a $1 million judgment. A settlement was found in March, and the lawsuit was thrown out. This made it possible for Ennis to sign a new deal with Matcham Bibril and EST to stay. "I like how Eddie Hearn moves his guys around. I like what he does and how he leads his troops. I just went that way. What I like about ID is that it talks for me. It's great to have Edie on my side. We work well together." Ennis is known for being very brief when he talks, but his punches make up for it, and he is considered one of the best and most adaptable boxers of all time. This switch hitter is often compared to a modern-day version of 3-division champion Crawford-Enis. On the other hand, he has a bad taste in his mouth after getting Crawford's title without a fight. When Crawford had to fight for Ennis, his sights were set on a rematch with Errol Spencer. "I did not want to win the belt that way at all. I would rather hit the guy than take his belt, but I couldn't change his mind. I want to fight Crawford by the age of 25, since he's at 150 and trying to get belts. And my main goal is to be undisputed king at 147, but in the future. I do want to fight the best and most famous men, but you know how that went. He never got to fight big names like Crawford, Spence, Manny Pacquiao, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Dennis Yugas, and others on his way to the top. Now he's up against Onion, a strong contender who lost to Crawford by unanimous decision in 2022, and Florian Josh Kelly, who lost for the first time in 2021. Avanesian's record includes a win over the legendary but past his prime Sugar Shane Mosley in 2016, Onion vs. Jaron Ennis. Onion doesn't seem to be worried about scoring a $3.9 million sum bid. Matchroom. One writes to Ennis Crowley about how Andes should have gotten 85% of the prizes according to IBF rules. Ennis said, "I've been training for everything the same way I do for everything else, by staying focused and on task at the gym. I'm not giving things too much thought and I am letting everything work out. I'm just taking my time with the hard work." Andes also said that he thinks David is a better opponent than Cody, but that Cody is stronger, and that Onion is great at putting pressure on people, like his old opponent Villa, but on a smaller scale. Andes said he was sure he could beat Avanesian because he doesn't care about other people and is only concerned with putting on a show for his fans and followers. He also said that he was committed to being himself in the ring and that he felt at ease fighting at home, saying that things were going well and there was no pressure. And S wants to be the undisputed welterweight king at 47, 154, 160, and 168 pounds one day. In that case, he holds WBC belts. PBC-affiliated Iman Tostonis and Mario Barros, alongside top-ranked promoted Brian Norman, and IS is focused on a possible star-making chance against a great who is looking to come out of retirement for the fight, even as he maintains that no one is calling him out. He said, "Nothing has come across my table yet for Manny or Paco, and if it does, I will happily take it, but most definitely those fights against Tony's Barros and Norman are going to happen. You have to stay tuned." Trainer Stephen Edwards thinks that Jaron Ennis is not up to the fight at 147. Edwards notes a shift where notable fighters who once dominated welterweight, names like Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, and Virgil Ortiz, have now ascended to the 154 pounds division. Among the current elite welterweights, Mario Barros era considered a major underdog, with odds of 4-1 against Booth, who boasts an impressive record of 31-0 with 28 knockouts. He's heralded as the Alexander the Great of the 7B division, having apparently conquered all in his path. Ennis has to decide what to do next to secure the big fights that Jaron Ennis wants, but hasn't been able to obtain at welterweight. He needs to consider moving up to 150 pounds. However, both he and his promoter at C seem hesitant to make this move, which shows surprise and lack of ambition on both ends. It's not possible for 147 people to look at them and say, "That guy can beat him." They are no longer irrelevant, but have moved up. Everyone stepped up, and at 147, everyone would bet at least for 121 chances that Boots Andes would become the clear favorite over Barros Stonis, Brian Norman Jr., and others. Norman is the toughest opponent for Ennis because he can hit hard, last a long time, and still be young and active. Edwards went on to say that if he had to fight Mario Barros or Stonis, Stonis would be the closest. The eyeball test and Vegas oddsmakers both say that any of those guys would be 4 or more against him. When asked if Ennis should get credit for beating Ian Edwards, he makes a good point. There isn't a single weak contender who can beat Boots. That's why he should think about moving up to the 150 for PB class to fight with the best. It seems like Boots should move up to 150 pounds if he wants to fight in Saudi Arabia and make a good living. But Ennis had said before that he hadn't been asked to fight Terence Crawford twice in the welterweight division. But Boots says he'd happily accept a fight with Crawford if the chance came up. Andes talks about how he quickly agreed to fight Crate when he was given the chance, but then he heard nothing else about it. Instead of fighting Terence Crawford, who was born and raised in Nebraska, he fought David Avanesian in his city of Omaha in December 2022. Boots was confused by what was going on, but the message was clear. Crawford didn't talk to the rising star, who is a threat in the SB division. Crawford seems unbeatable, but meeting Boots at his current level could ruin his career, especially since he has a possible mega reward fight against Canelo Alvarez coming up in early 2025.
Nobody. What 2 opportunities did I had to fight him?
Yeah.
When he fought Avanesian too,
Yeah.
but I think he was in the middle of doing something with Arrow at the time.
Yes.
And at that time, we all thought he was fighting early.
Yeah.
So we all waiting, everybody waiting around. The whole welterweight division was waiting around to see what he was going to do. And he popped up out of nowhere fighting David Ennis in December or something like that. People don't realize I didn't get the opportunity to fight for the IBF interim until after he made his decision. We was waiting. We was waiting to see what he was.
He said he had 2 chances to fight Crawford, but Crawford picked Avanesian instead. He made it clear that he would take any chance that came his way and asked why he wouldn't. Ennis also said that when Crawford finally asked them if they wanted to fight, they said yes, but that was the last time they heard anything about it. He said he was ready to fight Crawford and repeatedly said that it was a fight that he personally wanted and that everyone else wanted to see.
So I seen somebody saying that I went a different route or something like that.
Yeah.
I only went that route because he chose Avanesian. He could have clearly picked me.
Yeah.
I think Ortiz was one. It was me, and then I think it might have been Avanesian, or Avanesian might have been 4 or 5 or something like that.
Like 5. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's who he chose. So you can't blame me.
Right.
I get a call. Of course, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah.
Why would I not?
Crawford beat Spence in July of last year, so it stands to reason that he would have made it a point to protect his 4 belts against Ennis. He had wanted to fight him before moving up to junior middleweight. Crawford is in a very heated argument with Tim Bradley, which makes me very worried. It's clear Crawford has reason to be nervous. He could win a huge amount of money if he beats Gel Move, the current double junior middleweight champion, on August 3rd. If he wins this fight, he will automatically get to fight Alvarez next year. According to boxing commentator Tim Bradley, Bradley says that Terence Crawford should fight Jaron Ennis to show his fans that he is not scared of the teenage sensation. I think it's a doable fight. It takes care of Crawford versus Ennis, which is a winnable fight for either boxer, Crawford adds. Terence won his fight against Errol Spence Jr. in July of last year and has been out of the ring since. He is now a little older. It's possible that Crawford would take more punishment than ever before in a match against Boots because he is younger and stronger than Crawford. Crawford might not be ready for it. Bradley added, "Fight Boots, the man was uphand clever. The one that everyone thinks is the next coming of you, Crawford, and you beat him. And you add further to your reputation. I think Crawford should finally, if he's going to stay in the game any longer, visit Boots if Crate hadn't been offered. The Canelo fight, he likely would have still avoided Boots and gone up to 154, a safer move for an aging fighter as you get older. Facing a young lion like Boots could risk wrecking your PPV prospects, especially after just hitting that level with Spence's support. According to Bradley, Boots hasn't had the chance to show his greatness because no one has given him that opportunity. That's not his fault, and nobody wants to fight him because they know he's that good. Like many other fighters, Ennis is avoiding a showdown with Boots. Recognizing his formidable skills, he has shifted to the 105-pound weight class, hoping to use Muff as a stepping stone. However, even this plan may fail, as he may have been forced to face Muff or miss out on the opportunity to fight Canelo altogether. Bradley said, "Boots is calling you." Boots is saying, "I want that beating. Please give it to me, let's make it happen." Crawford has yet to do anything about it. He's like a casual "I've got bigger fish" to free. I get it because Crawford is at the end of his career, but that would be a damn good fight. Check out some of our other movies on the screen if you like this one.